Hello, this is TALHA YASEEN. Let's discuss Ielts reading Passage 3, Test-4, The Unselfish Gene. A psychologist gives his view on how humans became self-centered. Self-centered means selfish. We'll discuss how people were in the past and how they are now and how they became selfish with the passage of time. Question 27 to 30, multiple choice questions. Question 31 to 35, one word only. And question 36 to 40, yes, no, not given. Fortunately, passage is not labeled. And when passage is not labeled, it means all questions are in order. We can start from anywhere. But it's good to start with the one word only. So let's start. Contemporary hunter-gatherer societies. Question number 31. Bruce Knopf's research shows that contemporary hunter-gatherer societies tend to exhibit a high level of dash in all areas of life. You have to highlight these two words. The one is high level of, and the next is all areas of life. These two words will help us locate our answer. Let's find the word Bruce Knopf's. Bruce Knopf is given in passage 4 from the second line. As the anthropologist Bruce Knopf has remarked, hunter-gatherers are characterized by extreme political and sexual egalitarianism. Egalitarianism means equality. The term relates to equality. Has observed that individuals in such group don't accumulate property or possessions and have an ethical obligation to share everything. So, by extreme political and sexual egalitarianism, we will write egalitarianism because high level represents extreme and all areas of life means both political and sexual. These two things represent different areas of life. So, our answer will be egalitarianism. In these cultures, distributing resources fairly among all members is a moral obligation. These societies also employ strategies to prevent differences in dash occurring. Highlight differences and occurring so that we can find the word. Yes, in the very next line, in the same passage, they also have methods to prevailing egalitarianism by ensuring that disparities of status don't arise. Disparities mean differences. The synonym of differences is disparities, and occurring mean don't arise. Arise mean to occur. So our answer will be status. We will write status in 32. Question number 33. For example, the Kung follow a custom whereby the credit for one person's success at the dash behave in a dash is given to another member of the group. Let's read hunting and Kung, where Kung is given like Kung Fu. Yes, in the next passage, the Kung people of South Africa, for example, swap arrows before going hunting. And when an animal is killed, the acclaim doesn't go to the person who fired the arrow, but the person the arrow belongs to. What does it mean? It means that if I possessed arrow and it's stolen by someone else and he killed an animal or something else, the owner of the animal won't blame him to come to me because the arrow belonged to me. So is killed before going hunting, and when an animal is killed, so we will write success at hunting. We will write hunting in 33. And the very next question, behave in dash is given to another member of the group. Let's look how he behaves. Uh, the claim doesn't go to the person who fired the arrow, but to the person belongs to. And if a person becomes too domineering to other members of the group, here we will write domineering. 34, domineering. To another member of the group, individuals who men are punished by being exclaimed from the group, and women have a considerable amount of dash choices regarding work and marriage. In the very next line, members of the group ostracize them. Other members of the group ostracize them. Ostracize means punish them. Exiling the offender from society. Typically, in such a group, men do not dictate that women do. Women in hunter gatherer groups worldwide often benefit from high level of autonomy. The word is given amount of. Amount is synonymous with high level of. So, our answer will be autonomy. Choice is hardworking and marriage. So this is all about one word only. Question 36 to 40, we are left with yes, no, not given. And if you write true, false, not given in place of yes, no, not given, your answer will be considered wrong. Do the following statements agree with the views of the writer in reading passage 3 in boxes 36 to 40 on your answer sheet? If the statement agrees with the views of the writer, write yes. If the statement contradicts the views of the writer, write no. And if it is impossible to say what the writer thinks about this, write not given. 36. Some anthropologists are mistaken about the point when number of societies such as the Kung began to decline. Some anthropologists are mistaken about the point. This is the key word, mistaken about the point. Let's find the Kung. Yes, in the on the second page, in the third passage, many anthropologists believe, here the word given is believe, that societies such as Kung were normal until a few thousand years ago when population growth led to the development of agriculture and settled lifestyle. Here he says that anthropologists are mistaken. And here he says that believe, but he doesn't mention that the belief was wrong or right. Because if he was wrong, then we will consider him mistaken. And if he was right, we'll consider him right. But he doesn't mention anything like this. So we will write not given. And if you write ng, in place of not given, your answer will be considered wrong. So write full form, not given. Question number 37. Humans who developed warlike traits in prehistory would have had an advantage over those who did not. In prehistoric era, the people who developed warlike traits had advantage over the people who didn't have those traits. Let's find prehistoric. Yes, in the same passage. In view of the above, there seems little reason to assume that traits such as racism, warfare, and male domination should have been selected by evolution, as they would have been of little benefit in the prehistoric era. This is the word, little benefit. In the question, he says, human developed warlike traits, prehistory would have had an advantage over those. And here he mentions little benefit. So the statement contradicts the information. What will we write? Yes, we will write no. 37, no. 38, being peaceful and cooperative is a natural way of people to behave. He says that people behave in a cooperative and peaceful way. It's natural, it's an inborn quality. So if it is so, we will write yes, and if it's not so, we will write no, but we'll find it first in the passage. 38. Yes, in the next passage, it makes more sense than to see traits such as cooperation, egalitarianism, altruism, and peacefulness as innate characteristic of human beings. What does mean by innate? Innate mean inborn qualities. So we will write yes. Peaceful and cooperative is a natural way of people to behave. 39. Negative traits are more apparent in some modern cultures than in others. Negative traits are more apparent in some modern cultures than in others. We have seen in the many passages that when there is a comparison between the things, the mostly answer is not given, but it is not so in all the cases, mostly, because he doesn't compare the things. So let's find the answer in the passage 39, that negative traits are more apparent in some modern cultures, that the old cultures were not negative, but many traits that are present in the modern culture are negative. So let's look at the passage in the second last passage. But if prehistoric life wasn't really as brutal as has often been assumed, why do modern humans behave so selfishly and ruthlessly? Perhaps these negative traits should be seen as later development as a result of environmental and psychological factors. So he doesn't compare that negative traits are more apparent in modern cultures. There is no exact information. So we will write not given in front of 39. Question number 40. Animal research has failed to reveal a link between changes in the environment and the emergence of aggressive tendencies. You have to underline the word failed to reveal a link between changes in the environment and the emergence of aggressive tendencies. Let's read the second last passage, the second last line. Research has shown repeatedly that when the natural habitats of primates such as apes and gorillas, these are animals, are disturbed, are disrupted, they tend to become more violent and hierarchical. In the question, he says research has failed to reveal, but in the passage, he says research has shown. So the question contradicts the information. So research has proved. So we will write no in front of 40. Now we are left with multiple choice question from 27 to 30. Let's begin. We'll start from 27. What is the writer doing in the first paragraph? So let's read first passage. There has long been a general assumption. Assumption mean opinion, believe, anything. There has been a general assumption that human beings are essentially selfish. We are apparently ruthless, with strong impulses to compete against each other for resources and to accumulate power and possessions. If we are kind to one another, it's usually because we have ulterior motives. If we are good, it's only because we have managed to control and transcend our innate selfishness and brutality. Let's look at the options. A. Setting out two opposing views about human nature? No. B. Justifying his opinion about our tendency to be greedy? No, he doesn't justify anything. C. Describing a commonly held belief about people's behavior? Yes. Because in the first line he mentioned a general assumption that relates to a commonly held belief. So, and he mentions the behavior about accumulating power and possessions and ulterior motives, etc. So this shows people's behavior. So our right answer will be C. D. Explaining why he thinks that humans act in a selfish manner. He doesn't explain anything here. He just describes a commonly held belief. 28. What point is made about Richard Dawkins' book, The Selfish Gene? This book was written by Richard Dawkins. A First of all, we will have to find where Richard Dawkins is given in the very next passage, in the second passage, first page. The bleak view of human nature is closely associated with the science writer Richard Dawkins, whose 1976 book, The Selfish Gene, became popular because it fitted so well. This is the keyword. With and helped to justify the comparative and individualistic ethos that was so prevalent in 20th century societies. Let's read the options. Its appeal lay in radical nature of ideas? No. B. Its success was due to the scientific support it offered. It doesn't offer any scientific support. It presented a view that was in line with attitude of its time. This is our answer C. Was in line with. This is synonymous with it fitted so well. In the question, he says was in line with, and in the information he says it fitted so well. So we will choose C in question 28. D. It took an innovative approach to the analysis of human psychology. No, there is no mention of any innovative approach. 29. What does the writer suggest about the prehistoric era in the fourth paragraph? Let's read fourth passage. It is important to remember that in prehistoric era, the world was very sparsely populated. According to some estimates, around 15,000 years ago, the population of Europe was only 29,000, and the population of the whole world was less than half a million. Humans at that time were hunter gatherers, people who lived by hunting wild animals. He explains it by a colon. Colon is a symbol of explanation. When he puts a colon, it means he will explain the previous thing. People who lived by hunting wild animals and collecting wild plants, with such small population densities, it seems unlikely that prehistoric hunter-gatherer groups had to compete against each other for resources or had any need to develop ruthlessness and competitiveness or to go to war. Let's read the options. A. Societies were more complex than many people believe. No, because people were rare. So, how societies could be complex? This is wrong. B. Supplies of natural resources were probably relatively plentiful. This is our answer. He mentions that prehistoric hunter-gatherer groups to compete each other for resources because resources were in abundance. B is the right option. See, most estimates about population sizes are likely to be inaccurate. No, he accurately mentioned the sizes of the population. D. Humans moved across continents more than was previously thought. No, here is no movement mentioned. No movement is mentioned here. So we will write B, 29, B. 30, last. The writer refers to Bruce not work as support for the idea that, let's read the Bruce North's idea in the same passage from where we started to solve one word only. There is significant evidence to back this notion from contemporary hunter gatherer groups who live in the same way as prehistoric humans did. As the anthropologist Bruce North has remarked, hunter gatherers are characterized by extreme political and sexual egalitarianism that has observed that individuals in such groups don't accumulate property or possessions and have an ethical obligation to share everything. They also have methods to preserving egalitarianism by ensuring that disparities of status don't arise. A. Selfishness is relatively a recent development in human society. Yes, because at that time, prehistoric time, people were selfless. B. Only people in isolated communities can live in a unselfish manner. No, he doesn't mention isolated communities. C. Very few lifestyle have survived unchanged since prehistoric time. He doesn't compares the lifestyles. D. Hunter gatherer cultures worldwide are declining in number. No, he doesn't mention anything like this, so our answer will be A. This is all about passage 3.